Hello, class. Yeah, here is another one. But in today's class, we are going to talk about how to tune your guitar. How to tune your guitar. So now, if we check, if we talk about the anatomy of the guitar, what comprises of the guitar, we talk about the name of our strings, and we are moving forward. So now we have to talk about how to tune your guitar, how to keep your guitar in tune, so that you should be start practicing. So now, but before then, let me talk about one thing, which is interval. What interval is? Sometimes you may hear people saying intervals, interval this, intervals that, play this interval, play that interval. What are they? Actually, interval is a different in pitch. The different in pitch between one note and another. Example: if you have do, di, re, re, mi, and so on and so forth. So the difference between the do and di is what we call interval. It has to be the do and di because there is what we call a half step and a whole step. So when consider the whole step and the half step, it's a different thing entirely. So now the interval has to do with what? It has to be the distance between do and di, the difference between the do and di, the distance in between them is what we call interval. Now, the very simple way or simplest way to understand this is when if you apply it to your guitar. Now, if you check, I talked about the frets and the fret spaces. So the frets here, the space 1, space 2, space 3, space 4, you can name them till the space 24. Is what denotes your intervals. Now, this is from the distance between the first fret and the second fret space is what we call interval. That is the first interval. So, before you should be able to tune your guitar, you have to know this particular word, interval, and you have to know its application, how it is applied, because we've take into consideration the notes that we are having, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, that I talked about before. Now, the notes C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, which is do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Now, these notes, some of the notes are two interval apart, and some are just an interval apart. Now, the notes that are two interval apart, just take note of this, and it's very, very important. The notes that are two interval apart are do, re, mi, and sol, la, and ti. So now, between mi and fa is an interval apart, and between ti and do is an interval apart. The rest are two interval apart. Now, being the two interval apart is what we call what? Is what we call a whole step. A whole, 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 half, whole, half, whole. That is what most people use. So now, what are they? They are just do, re, mi. From mi to fa is a half, is just an interval apart, which is a half step. So you need to know these things. Without knowing these things, you won't be able to identify your notes on the fretboard, nor even know how to tune your guitar, because these are the sound that you will hear. Now go back to how to tune your guitar. The first thing to note is we have already given the name of the strings, which is E, if you forget it, B, G, D, A, and E low string, E high and E low string. Now, these notes are derived from the musical letters that we've talked about earlier. So, but now, then from E to F, remember that we said E to F is an interval apart. We call it a half step and it's natural in this case. E to F, F to G, G to A. Now, E to F is a half step or an interval apart, but F to G is a whole step or two interval apart. You can say that. G to A is the same thing, two interval apart. So the notes that are an interval apart is E and F, B and C. Right. Now, let's talk about how to tune the guitar now. The name of your sixth string is E. You ask your keyboardist to press that the key of E for you. Now you tightening your your pick or machine or your tuning key to the tune of the sound on the keyboard E. When you get this E now, the next thing is for you to move on. By moving on, you are using a system, a tuning system called 55545. 55545 is a system of using the number of your fret spaces to tune your guitar. The first five is counting from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then you play. You tune your number 5 string to the sound of this, which is A sound now. And that A sound denote La. Don't forget. So you count 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You play it. Then tight or loose. If it's above A, you loose. If it is below A, you tight. So you tight your 5 string to the sound of this A. Now you've got, when you get it, the two should sound alike or the same. So now you do same, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is the first 5 that we talk about. Now the second one, you do same to the fifth string by counting your 5 fret, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You play it. And when you play it, you tune, you tight or you loose your number 4 string to the sound of this. This is D now. Why is it D? We are using our interval to locate that, because we have already used this E to tune our A. So now from A here to tune our D, you have A. From A to B is two interval apart. From B to C is an interval apart to D. So to D. So from here is what you will use. You count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You tune your D. Right? The same thing. You count 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You tune your G, which is 5, 5, 5. The next is what? 3. I mean 4. 5, 5, 5, 4, 5. So now the 4 is the name of your third is G. G, you have already have D here. D, E, F, G. So this is G on your fifth. So you play. The name open is D. From D to E is two interval apart. Know that. From E to F is an interval apart, which is just here. Now from here, from F to G is two interval apart, 1 and 2. So you play this sound and tune your G string to the sound of this. The two of them sound. I'm playing the same together now. The sounds the same. So now you do same to your B. You have already tuned your G here. So you from G, you check your interval from G to A, because we are looking for B here. From G to A is two interval apart. From A to B is also two interval apart. But if you count, you have 1, 2, 3, 4 fret space. So you have B on the 4 fret spaces now. So you play, you tune it. It sounds same. Now, so there you are. So you have 5, 5, 5, 4 now. So you do same to tune your E, which is the final. From your B, from B to C is an interval apart. From C to D is two interval apart. From D to E, which is the fifth, you have that in the fifth fret space. So if you check now, your guitar will be tuned. If you play it, the guitar is tuned. So far, so good. This is how to tune your guitar. If there is any question about that, go to the comment section. Then let us talk and chat. I hope you have a good time and I hope you've learned something today. Thank you.